Welcome everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is the MSV podcast. Here we talk about crypto. My name is Sabi, I am your host today. Let's start. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the MSV podcast. Today we will talk about play to earn and play and earn games, but more importantly about the economy and structure behind these. In order to get some good insight, I have somebody here from the blockchain gaming industry. Please welcome my today's guest, Shahaf from Monkey League. Hi Shahaf, thank you for being here. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Could you give us a brief introduction about yourself, about your background, about the project and the team, of course?
Sure. So I'm the chairman of Uncaged Studios, which is the studio that releases Monkey League, probably by the year's end, which is an esport game. It's a AAA high production value game released on Solana. It will be the first high production value game on Solana. Known as the CEO of Cody, which I co-founded back in 2017. All in all, been a tech entrepreneur most of my life, at least the last 20-something years ago. I was the founder of Web3 Group back in 2006. That was acquired by IPG. Co-founded Positive Mobile, which was acquired by Brightcom, and then got into crypto somewhere around 2015. Koti, obviously, and as I've mentioned, I'm the chairman of Uncaged Studios. So that's me. The studio has 40 people, all super experienced both in Web3 and in gaming, which is, what makes it unique is the fact that the studio intertwines between both being very native in Web3, but also in gaming. So the co-founder of the studio is Raz Friedman. Raz Friedman was employee number one in Playtika and took the company from 4 people to 4,000 people, being traded on the Nasdaq, generating more than $1 billion in revenue every year. And Raz is the mind behind the games. So he was in Playtika. He's one of the pioneers of free-to-play, which is probably the most successful business model around games these days. But other than him, all of the management of the studio all come from either deep gaming experience and expertise. So like the GM was the general manager for House of Fun, which is a huge game. And everybody else, again, super experienced overall. The studio has hundreds of years of experience in game production and in Web3.
So we can say that you are covering both gaming and the economy part, and you are attacking this problem from both sides. Before we go deeper into the topic, can we discuss a bit what Web3 means, Web3 gaming? And I think the economy attaches to that as well, because Web2 is something the traditional, something that what we know right now and the majority is using. Web3 is what we want to achieve. If you can give us some insight on that, that would be appreciated.
Sure, because again, this is there's a lot of words in this field, and there are a lot of distinctions that you need to make when you think of it, right? So let me start off by saying that GameFi, which is the subset of Web3 maybe that this economy belongs to, is something that was kind of like manifested around 2018 with Axie Infinity just building their company, but grew up substantially the past 18 months or so. I mean, we've seen one cycle of it. So Web3, generally speaking, Web3 is where the internet is going. The example that people use a lot is, Web1 was read. People would advertise content and you would consume it. It's a one-directional relationship. Web2 is read and write. You can consume content, but you also publish content. So this is how social networks work and everything, and blogs and podcasts and everything else. And Web3 is read, write, and own. So you don't just consume content or publish content. You actually own pieces of the platform that you work with, or we finally have digital property over the internet. which is unique. We didn't used to have that. And this means that if I think Vitalik Buterin said it once, and it's a great example. If Uber is able to connect, all drivers from different cities to consumers that need a ride, and this wasn't done before. This is a great Web 2 sort of platform. What Web 3 can do is actually cancel Uber. So if there was a protocol where drivers and people that need rides could have connected them without the need of a centralized mediator, because it just worked for everybody, then this is Web 3. So this is Web 3 and Web 3 games. So you even said that in the opening. You said play to earn, play and earn, etc. This is like a subgenre in Web3 games. Web3 games is actually bigger than that. Maybe it's worth saying what it's not. I think a game is a game. It doesn't really matter. The games don't care if they are Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. A game should have entertainment value. People need to want to play this game just for the game, regardless of the economy around it. And then you have an economical model around the game. Whether it's pay to play, right? You buy the latest Call of Duty and you play the game. Whether it's free to play, where some users will buy cosmetics and whatever, and that will pay for the entire game, or whether it's a Web3 type economy for the game, which is a different economical model, which we'll probably dive into during this conversation. But the game in itself is a game. I'll leave you with this example, which I took from Brown, who's creating a game called Nor, which I think is fabulous. Monkey League is going to be about esports and soccer, right? So he said nicely, there is no money in soccer. Actually, there's no money in soccer. When you play with your friends, when you take your kid to play in the backyard, there is no money involved. The business of soccer is what happens around the game, not inside the game. Professional players, teams, merchandise, viewership, advertising, all of that happens around the game, not within the game. So the game is a game. The economy is what happens around it.
I have a feeling that you are going into the community's direction and about people getting engaged about the game. Yes, just playing the game is not bringing or making any money. It's just playing the game, which you can do for fun, right? Or for sports, whatever. But whatever you build around it and how you use people's engagement, that creates the structure or the economical structure behind it. Am I getting this correctly?
Yeah, exactly. Web3 is a structure that happens, around the game. It's not the game itself. So if the game is all about, hey, we'll pay you to play this game, and we have tokens for that. This is very much old news, and this is not where the space is going for sure. It's okay to bootstrap interest with tokens, but it's not a business model, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't serve anybody other than the first few people that came in to play the game and sold their tokens.
Now, you see, it's very interesting that you mentioned this, because that is what I also wanted to talk about. I think we are in a Web3 game, let's say. I think we are over the first step, and that is exactly what you just mentioned, because only playing the game is not just playing the game. You have to have a game which is fun. So essentially, the game is the first thing which will drag in people. So you can just make any game and say that, okay, you will have some rewards, and probably the first people will benefit most, and then let's just say it might go in a small decline. But to maintain a good engagement, meaning that to make it entertaining, to make it fun, I think that is what will bring in the game, and that is how you can make the structure, right?
Exactly.
If you can keep the people.
Yeah, and look, again, let's talk about soccer again, right? The reason why the business around soccer football, baseball, basketball, any major sport is so big is because the game is fun and people love playing it regardless of rewards, regardless of
and
everything.
also watching it.
It's not the other way. Yeah, exactly. It's the same. Exactly. And people watch it because it's fun, right? It's not the other way around. It's not that the business around soccer is so big and now people want to play soccer. It doesn't work that way. And play to earn is essentially this, right? It's hey, it's not fun, but we'll pay you and come play. It is okay to bootstrap like that. Back in the days when you opened your first PayPal account, or if you referred a friend, you would have get $10. Great, that's bootstrapping liquidity. That's bootstrapping engagement. That's all good. Doesn't work that way forever, right? Because then the question should be asked: hey, where do the rewards come from? What is happening within the game that allows me as a developer to share rewards with players? Like, what's happening there? Who's picking up this bill? And Uncaged and Monkey League have an answer for that. Like, we have the thesis around what we are going to do or what we are doing, and what the guys here that have deep expertise in gaming have done in their past that know that work.
And we will go into that. But before that, just talk a bit about the design, because I watched. I think first time when I saw your game, I had the feeling that I'm watching. I don't know, FIFA and chess's love child. Maybe it was very interesting. It brought me back a memory when I was playing. I don't know. Do you know these small browser games? Whether that be Abopu or anything, just go on the browser and start playing against somebody else over the internet. You didn't have to download anything. It is very interesting. Can you tell us about the design or how you came up with this idea? Because I think it's very important that the fun part is the soccer, maybe, probably, and the chess part, let's say that the part where you have to think, is also presenting some challenge to the players, for example. And I think these two are very important to have them combined. So maybe if you can tell us more about this.
Yeah, for sure. So essentially, you got it spot on. It's exactly when the designers of the game thought about the game, and obviously there were quite a few ideas, but the idea was, what happened if you would have played FIFA Street, so like street themed soccer, but you'd play it on a chessboard of sorts. Like, you have all these tiles, so it's the fun of street soccer, but with all the elements of strategy. And this is like the main design of the game. So you have two teams. Each player controls a team. In some mode, it can be a few players controlling a team versus another team. And obviously, people get that right away, because this is not like a goofy starship games with aliens. People understand soccer immediately. The idea is that you make your moves to score a goal on the other side of the field, and when the time ends, the person with most goals wins, right? That's simple. But how do you do that? How do you make that interesting? How do you combine special abilities and everything into it? So all of that is baked into the game. So the players themselves are all NFTs. They are called, monkey athletes. The production value of the game is very high. Everything is 3D based on Unity. You can, when you look at the art, you get it right away. And there are about 6 trillion permutations of players, combining various looks. So all players are unique in their looks. Some are rare, some are more common. But it's not just about looks. It's also about athletic capabilities. So each player, begins with certain stats like strength and speed and accuracy and all of that. And as the player plays the game, he can actually advance his NFT to be faster, to be stronger, etc., according to how he played the game. So that means that the value of these NFTs grow over time. The currency that is used within the game for everything, whether it's breeding, the rewards for successful winnings in tournaments, and everything, like the dollar of the game, the goal of the game is called Monkey Bucks, which is a token that is already circulating out there. It's also, an FTX, Bybit, Gate, etc. And early next year, I believe the studio will introduce another token called Score, which is the platform token, which is used obviously, for everything from, being part of the treasury, for governance, votes, and other utilities. So it's going to be a very lucrative token, the Score token. And obviously as a studio, the idea is to create more than one game. So right now, the studio is very focused on this esports franchise called Monkey League, and in it, the first sport, which is soccer. But obviously, this franchise will grow to other games as well, like football and more. And you can actually use the same NFTs, the same athletes that you optimize differently to play various sports. And the idea with a platform token like Score is to actually have this, overarching capability to take part in many games. So what Uncaged is doing is actually building an ecosystem of games, and it makes it very very unique.
So just for me to understand, after a couple of years, let's say, after you have a couple of games, let's say 5, it could happen that I have 3 player NFTs and I can use all of them or some, maybe 2 out of them in more than one sports or more than one game.
Yes.
For example, I can use in soccer, and by football you meant American football, for example?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so maybe I have a very, very big defend on soccer, which can also
perform
in the American football game, and I can just
exactly.
cross play with them.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. I also saw that you don't only have or will have player NFTs. There will be also NFT stadiums. There will be also spectators, and this ecosystem, it's not only about playing, it's also about maybe renting out a place for the games and watching, and maybe I don't know, ruling for one of the teams and getting some reward. Can we talk about that?
Yes, exactly. This is exactly where Web3 meets the game itself, because the game is as I've described it to you, right? Can even be played without NFTs, right? You can play soccer without it. So what's unique? So let's talk about everything that is around the game that actually makes it a Web3 game and actually introduces something new to GameFi and Web3 gaming. And this is what the studio is all about. So think of it that way. I've mentioned, how an NFT can evolve. So you start off from something, and then you play the game. Your NFT advances in both, the level of the NFT and its athleticism can improve over time. You can play it in other games, etc., etc. But what happens to the players themselves? How do they move around in the game? So you start off obviously as an amateur player, right? You're not even playing for rewards. You're just playing the game, right? But as you get better, you become a pro player, an all-star player. You move in the ranks, and it's not your NFT that is moving in the rank. It's you yourself as a player that is actually advancing, right? NFT is the tool that you use, or the athlete is the tool that you use, but you yourself get better over time. And the way to track this and actually grant you with this beyond the scope of the game is with using soul-bound tokens. So you're getting these tokens as you evolve in the game. You're a pro player, you're playing for rewards, you play in tournaments, you win rewards. We'll discuss a bit later, where rewards come from, but you're playing all this, and now you're ready to actually assemble a team. You want to have enough NFTs to assemble a team. You do that, and you are promoted to become a team owner. You still obviously play the game, but right now your rank is team owner, and you have the soul-bound token to prove that. You continuously evolve in the game because now you're playing. You can play bigger tournaments because you're a team owner. You win even bigger rewards. You buy more of these monkey athletes out there. You now have 4 teams. So now you're a club owner, right? You've reached the peak of a player's career, and you have a lot of assets in the game, and you're a very good player. Now, this is this is very appealing for a lot of people that play games, but it's very important to understand, and again, this is where Web3 comes into play. Earlier it came into play because you're the owner of the NFTs, you're the owner of the rewards. You have a soul-bound token that actually proves who you are, what you are, your social status, what you've accomplished, etc., etc. And that can go way beyond the game, right? It can be that other games will want, other sports game will grant you, special capabilities. If you have a soul-bound token that proves that you are a club owner in Monkey League, for instance, right? But playing the game actually is just one part of the economy, right? A very active part. Some will say the part that has all the fun, but it is not for everybody. Some people...
We still don't have... Yeah? So I just wanted to add that we still don't have the money, where it is coming from, right?
Yeah, and we'll get to that in maybe like the next, after we discuss this. We'll
okay. Okay,
well.
sorry, continue, please.
No, sure. So for some people, a more passive experience, that of, yielding assets sort of perspective, is the game, quote unquote, that they want to play. My game is that I want to buy stadiums. Stadiums are NFTs. And stadiums have their own way of being productive in this economy, adding value to this economy, and hence getting rewards. So in my stadium, I can host special tournaments, and if that happens, I get part of the rewards. I am also in charge of giving the soul-bound tokens when players are ready to certify themselves. So I've maybe won 100 matches. I can be a pro player now. These are the rules. So I can just interact with the stadium. Obviously, prove that I won 100 matches because it's easy because we track that. And then the stadium owner is the person that actually grants me and certify me with the soul-bound token. Why is this important? Why isn't it done centrally? Because this is exactly where a Web3 economy can flourish without the need of the developer to be very active in everything and rule who is pro player, who isn't. It can be done by the community itself with the stadium owners. Lastly, I can when I want to get special abilities. So my NFT is not just unique in its look. It's not just very advanced in its athleticism. I want to get special ability, like a meteor strike kick, a super strong kick that I can use every now and then in the game. I need to go to a stadium. I train in the stadium and I acquire this special ability, and I need to pay a fee to the stadium owner to get that. So stadiums are another passive way for people to take part of this economy. There will be other types of NFT that the team is looking at right now, like maybe breeding labs where you can breed faster and promote the economy by being able to add NFTs to it in a faster pace. And other aspects of how this economy and how everything works together. Obviously, this economy needs to have rules, and these rules and parameters can change according to how the participants vote. I mentioned the score token. So the idea with this governance token is that you can't buy it. I mean, the company will not sell it. The only way to get score is by staking your in-game currency, monkey bucks, for a committed time, and then you can get score. And when you have score, you can vote on various things, and maybe team owners can vote on certain things because we can identify them with the soulbound tokens, and then they can vote on certain things, and others can vote on other things, etc., etc. So this is how the whole economy works together. In the middle of it, there are players. Players can become team owners and then club owners. There is a constant injection of new NFTs, new athletes to the ecosystem through breeding, an injection of liquidity to the ecosystem with liquidity providers that serve as bankers, and even injection of new players, right? Traffic to the game happening with promoters. All of them are rewarded with monkey bucks. They provide this traffic, liquidity, and players to the ecosystem. Then the ecosystem interacts with stadium owners and in order to certify, train, and actually host games, and this whole thing works together. Now the big question: where do the rewards come from?
Just sorry for interrupting. I just want to make sure that I do understand what I see here is that you are creating an all-round economy where you don't need to, let's say, get engaged. I mean, the developer, the outside institution doesn't need to engage and correct anything in this economy, and it can just go on by itself because there will be fees. It's not enough to play only because you will probably become a small entrepreneur as well, because you will want to train yourself, to invest in your, I don't know, progress, for example. If you have a stadium, I guess you pay some fees or maintenance. I don't know. I'm just dropping here ideas, but this is how I imagine. I don't know if I understood it correctly what you said. So it's like a self-sustained economy.
Exactly. And I love the fact that you use the word, I can be a mini entrepreneur in this economy, because this is exactly what Web3 can do and Web2 cannot do, right? In a very centralized game design, money goes in one direction. You pay to the developer and you get entertainment, and it can be a great deal, right? It can be amazing. I love paying for certain games. It's great. No problem in that. But it's limited to the capacity that the developer creates. Now, with Web3 games, it is different. You, for instance, lay the foundation, and then people can build a lot of very good things around it in terms of economy. I'm not talking about user-generated content in terms of game creation. Some go that way. There are very great companies doing that. Some doesn't. This is not what Monkey League is doing. The idea is that what users can generate is within the economy that is around the game. I can decide that I want to be a coach. I want to teach people how to play the game better, and they will share with me some of the rewards that they are collecting. And a smart contract can be put in that. I can be a scout. I can find good players and match them into a team and get something out of it. This is exactly how. Or I want to be an advertiser, and I want to advertise to all the pro players in Monkey League that have a soulbound token that can actually prove that they're pro players. I want to introduce them to something that I do, right? And that can be done. These players can decide, hey, I'm willing to give that data because I want to be rewarded, and that can be done. So everything that is around the game, like it is in the real world of soccer, any business model can be built around something. People can build and take part of, and this is why it's amazing. The inspiration of it. Think of it that way. A lot of the cities that we have today in the world, that people created, obviously built. Started off from something small. It could have been that a source of water was found somewhere and in the desert, right? And then people obviously set camp there and tents and started building things around it, and then people started to specialize into different things that they can do and provide. Some became blacksmith, some became bankers, whatever, right? And people started building things around it, and before you know it, without a centralized design, it's a major city, right? Mm-hmm. And then obviously you need governance and everything around it. But this can only happen if people can build and create a better future for themselves using this one single thing, this source of water that they found, and around it things are built to a point where, they're not really dependent on that source of water anymore. They're not using that well anymore because now the city is self-sustained. So with games, the source of water is the entertainment value. This is the thing that the people that don't want to do. They want to come back to play the game. They love the game. They don't need rewards. They just want to play the game. However, some will want to build an economy around it for themselves. Want to be like esports player. They want to start playing the game for rewards. They want to move up in the ranks. They want to build a stadium, whatever. All of this can be done with Web3.
It is very fascinating, and I really love the example you gave with the source of water and big cities built. I think we can see even now in the last 40-50 years when cities were built because of a certain source, and now they are self-sustainable, and more or less they don't rely anymore on that initial source. So let's talk about where the money is coming from, because I think this is the main problem right now with the play to earn games. At one point there is just so much let's say money in the system that the rewards are not appealing anymore, and somehow this economy is not solved. This is still work in progress. I can see this on many games. Now we are over this hype, let's say the play to earn first hype, and now we need something more. We need something sustainable, let's say, and long term. So where does the money come from?
Sure. So let's start off, just to, set the ground for everybody to be under the same understanding. What used to be the case, so the case was that the developer had a pool of tokens which he set for rewards. When players played the game, they could have played poorly, they could have played excellent, but they would get some of these rewards. These rewards are cryptocurrencies, obviously, and people would had nothing better to do with it other than just the speculative value of it. Just sold it off in the market. Sometimes there are utilities to these, like breeding, but the idea was the developer needed to constantly print more and more of these tokens to support the rewards for players, and obviously inflating the economy. And this can work as long as the number of players continuously grow. But like everything, this is not always the case. And you can't continuously inflate an economy without it collapsing over time. This is why central banks have policies and ribbons and goals and how to manage an economy. And again, some economies in the world make it better than other economies. Some have, Venezuela have raging inflation and people lose faith in the local currency, and some are better. Now, so obviously, how do you solve that, right? So let's say you bootstrap the economy, you gave rewards to players, people are playing. What happens next? Now, the idea is that you need to create what is called in these economies a sink, right? SINK. A sink is a place where rewards can where players opt in to use their rewards. And then that can circulate back into the economy, so that you would need to print less tokens all the time. So what happens in Monkey League? The idea, and again, Raz, the co-founder, is one of the fathers of free-to-play, came in with the basic idea that goes as follows. When you want to play a match in the game, and people can recognize this principle, from a lot of mobile games, you need to spend some of your energy. You need when you play the game, right? Let's say you need to spend 5 of your energy. When the game is done, you need to feed your players. You need to maybe take care of their health, right? They're exhausted. Mm-hmm. You can't just go on and on and on forever. This mimics real life and sports. And every day, you get your daily dose of energy and supplies and everything, then you can play the game. However, if you want to play longer, or if you want to win higher rewards, it's not enough. right? And you need to buy more of this energy and supplies using your in-game currency. And you can do that in the game store and collect these products and continuously play the game. What does it mean? And sorry, just to complete this, the revenue that is collected in the in-game store doesn't go to the developer, it doesn't go to Uncaged, it goes back to the economy to pay the rewards. Now, if you're doing it right and you optimize this funnel and the numbers within it, it means that if you are, above average player, you play the game well. It means that you will spend some in-game currency to buy supplies, but you will win more rewards than what it costs you, right? Because you're skilled. If you are below average player, you will probably spend in the store more than what you will gain by playing a game, because you will lose to other players, right? So it's not that we are, it's not a betting game. It's not one versus the other through a wager. It's not that at all. The way that it's being organized is through optimizing a funnel, optimizing the sync within the in-game store, so that above average players will win more than they're spending, and below average players will actually spend more than they are winning. And this sync, when done right, actually means that this is how rewards are being paid, exactly like that. Now, obviously, it's not just that. As I mentioned, there's a lot of economical activity that is going on within the game, whether it's breeding, whether it's the use of stadiums, etc., etc. All of that actually pays some tax, some fee to the game treasury, and that treasury is used for the rewards. So what's interesting here is that MBS, Monkey Bucks, the in-game currency, is not an infinite supply token like it was done in other games. It has a fixed supply. And the idea is that if the game is doing what it should and everything works, the value will rise for every unit of MBS because we're not inflating the economy, and because this economy actually functions, and this is and this is how economies work, right? There's greater demand to take part of this game that actually works and that is sustainable. The supply is fixed, hence price will appreciate. However, in order to not deter new players, which is also something that needs to be fixed in GameFi 2.0, actually there is some price normalization both in the store and in the rewards that offsets the rise or decline of the in-game currency. So all of that is optimized. All of that is taken into consideration when you build this.
So just to summarize, if I understood this correctly, you will have, let's say in the first stages, you will have an optimized, let's say, amount of currency to, I don't know how much player you have in the system, and more and more player come in. But the supply is not infinite, meaning that at certain point, people will play the game. There will be no more minting of the in-game currency. Therefore, probably the price will go up because it will become somewhat scarce. The more skilled ones will obviously get more rewards. Yeah, I guess inspiration is from real life, without the money printing, which happened in the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And the inflation policy is already baked, within the numbers and how the syncs work. And to add to all of what you said, there's also some price normalization, right? So if one MBS is $2, and this is what let's say you want for a game, and the next day one MBS is $20, I don't want you to win another, $22 one day and $20 the next day and $200 the third day, because that will ruin the economy. We want to stabilize that, because that makes more sense. That for the same amount of effort, you will roughly get the same thing. But again, that comes from, if you're a very skilled player and you play the higher leagues, same effort will probably get you more because you're already playing the major league. So this is what create the incentive to continuously evolve within the game. And look, it's a bit more complicated than that. The economy here is done with some of the brightest minds in game economies here actually optimize that. But from my position as a chairman, I think this kind of like covers it quite nicely.
From what I understand from you, simplified and oversimplified, let's say, is that you want to make sure that the increased reward goes to player who put in the skills, who evolve, and who are engaged, rather than to those who, it's not the best word, but rather speculate. If you improve your skills, if you improve your NFTs, if you advance, then you will probably get more rewards.
Yeah, and another way to put it is that you cannot extract value from this ecosystem without providing it with value, or assuming or taking some risk, right? If you don't add value, you can't extract value. The idea is that it's not about, hey, I just spent time here, pay me for that. This is not work, right? This is not where Web3 games are going. If you add some value, meaning you bought a stadium, now you certify other players, you train other players in your premise, you are a pro player. You're spending money in the in-game store that goes to the treasury. If you're good, you will earn more. If you're not going to earn more. But you've added this value because you've grown the game's treasury. You've taken some risk upon yourself. So this is how economies actually work. And again, it's different than the bootstrapping period to self-sustainability.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much for the explanation. It is very interesting to hear that with the self-sustainable economy. I have one more question, maybe my last question. What is the project status right now, and how the community can get engaged? I think this also ties up to when the game will be released and anything which is coming out in recent times, let's say, or in the future.
Sure. So Uncaged Studios is a pretty big studio. There are 41 full-time people already working in the studio and have been working in the studio. It was launched mid last year. So a lot of progress was made. It is now even accelerated because the studio just finished a substantial fundraising of $24 million equity raise, Series A raise, that was led by Geffen Gaming Partners, with participation, from Drive by DraftKings, Six Men Ventures, B Games, Maverick Ventures, Israel, etc. So it's now even accelerated. There was already the initial NFT drop, already the launch of the in-game currency. What is happening right now that leads to the launch of the game by the year's end is actually the breeding season, which is quite an amazing time, to have the NFTs and the in-game currency, because you can start building up the population of the monkey athletes. And obviously, if it all goes well, then this is very valuable to you. The release of the in-game store, special NFT drops that will come, with teams and celebrities and for causes. A lot of culture that is planned for that. Game again, launched probably by the year's end. Still some debate whether it's mobile first, desktop first, altogether. I don't think it matters that much, but the idea is that it can be widely adopted by everyone, and through some very good partnerships, we feel adoption will be quite fast. There's also the studio is partnered with I would say most of the guilds out there, and definitely the bigger ones. So there's going to be a lot of players to begin with, because obviously the guilds come with all of their players and all of them participate. So there's going to be a lot of players from the get-go. What else is important? Yes, I would say in terms of technology, the studio is coming out of Israel. Israel is a very much tech-first country. So the studio is developing a game operation system, a platform. Think of it like maybe Forte, but not just for the launch of the game, but actually to support games afterwards. So with this piece of technology, the studio is partnering with other AAA studios, Web2 studios that want to leap into Web3 games, to work with them to create even more titles. So the idea for Uncaged is to be, the world's biggest and best Web3 gaming studio for all it means, and definitely making very good strides towards it. So I would say that big things to look for in the coming future is breeding season, which is pretty soon, and then the game launch.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention how to follow the company. So first of all, there's a website, monkeyleague.io. It's a new website. I think it's beautiful. The studio website is uncaged.gg. Social, so Twitter is at the Monkey League, and obviously Telegram groups, Discord groups, all of that is already set up, done. About 330,000 people following across channels, so I recommend to people to
yes,
to have a look.
And everyone can find all these links in the description of this podcast. So feel free to go around, check out the website and Twitter, follow, and let's see what the breeding season brings. Thank you very much, Shahaf, for accepting the invitation and for explaining to us this very interesting game and economy in the new era, let's say, of the gaming.
Sure. No, I love this sort of things. I'm obviously very well recognized as a CEO of Koti, but as a thinker in this field, and I like to think that this is what I am. Web3 was very interesting to me, and I was very glad to have the opportunity to be the chairman of such an amazing studio.
Probably it's the industry on which people will work on for the next couple of decades.
Yes.
Perfectioning it, and who knows what Web4 will be in gaming.
Let's see.
Okay, thank you again, and talk to you next time.